Hey everybody, how you doing? It's me again, Truth Teacher, coming at you with another video. And so I guess by now everybody pretty much has heard the news of the passing of Chadwick Bowesman due to complications with colon cancer. And I guess like everyone else, I feel a sense of great loss and sadness that someone who was so talented, um, that contributed so much, artistically to our lives, is gone, and at such a young age too. Like 43. But for me, I try to find the silver lining or something productive in every moment as much as I can. And I think that one thing we can do with this event that will empower us is to learn more about colon cancer, and I guess cancers in general, but particularly this one. And right now, I'd like to speak particularly to the men out there who are watching this video. Even though colon cancer is not something that is restricted, exclusively to men, statistically, men are affected more, it seems, than women. Personally, I take this very seriously because I have three people in my life, close to me, who've been touched by colon cancer. The first one was my uncle, and he died in, I guess it was 2010, from colon cancer. It was really a shock to me, when that happened, because I thought he had beat it. But I guess it progressed too far for anything to have been done at that point. The second person is my stepfather. Luckily, he had my mom, behind him, and when he started experiencing symptoms, she made sure that he went to the doctor, and thank God, he was able to get treatment, and he is cancer-free to this day. I think he got his diagnosis when, like about maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and he's doing well. And a very close friend of the family, he also was diagnosed with colon cancer last year. And he went through some kind of treatment. I'm not sure exactly what it was that he did, but it's just kind of frightening, because I remember growing up as a kid, it was so rare to hear about somebody getting cancer, and now it seems like just about everybody is coming down with cancer. What I would like to say to the men out here is that we need to change our attitude when it comes to getting medical attention, when it comes to getting checkups on a regular basis. Just across the board, not just for colon cancer, but just in general. And, I don't know what it is about us men, but we just have this attitude that, I don't know, maybe it's denial that, we're invincible, that we can take control of everything, we got everything under control. I think part of it is just feeling uncomfortable going to the doctor, going to the dentist, these kind of things. And I guess particularly people of African descent, we have an aversion and a distrust of the medical institutions, because of the very real things that we've experienced by way of abuses and exploitation. I know personally I'm guilty of it myself because, I almost died from pneumonia twice, and the reason for it was because I just refused to go to the doctor. I wanted to handle everything by myself. I had pneumonia and I thought, well, it's just, really bad bronchitis. And, I'll just keep drinking some hot ginger tea and I'll be fine, and 1 week turned into 2 weeks, turned into 3 weeks. And next thing you know, it's like chronic, this thing is going on for months and it's still not getting any better. And I'm still here, drinking ginger tea. And, it's like finally, like my mom and everybody nagged me to go to the doctor and they were like, you got here just in the nick of time, And yeah, it's like it went that long because I just really have a mistrust of doctors, and I don't like to go there. So I wanted to handle everything myself, but it almost killed me twice. I think what really gave me the wake-up call was the situation with my mom, just having a sudden massive stroke. My mom had kept me in the dark about the fact that she was at risk for heart attack and stroke. So I had no clue, like when I got that phone call, it just like blew my mind. And subsequently, there were just so many people in my immediate circle who passed away unexpectedly from things that could have been avoided. I have one friend that he died because of complications due to heart failure, He had really severe heart problems that he just refused to acknowledge until it got to the point where he almost died, and then he decides to start listening to doctor's orders. But by that time, his heart was like so weak that he had gotten an infection and his heart just couldn't hold up to it, and he just gone. Another friend of mine, this really wasn't her fault because she didn't have any symptoms, but she got diagnosed with lung cancer last October, and by January I was at her funeral. It's weird because it was like so close back to back. It's like my friend, we had his memorial in December, and I went and I saw this lady that I know. She was at the memorial. That was December, right? And I hadn't seen her in a while, and she told me about her diagnosis, that she had stage 4 lung cancer. And it was like, I was just thinking to myself, holy shit, don't tell me you're going to be next. And sure enough, it's like she was next. And it was just like, it was like I saw her that December, and by January, not even a month later, she was gone too, and so, I don't blame her because, it wasn't negligence on her part, but, my other friend, it's like, dude, you could have still been here. You didn't have to die. And, my mom too, if she had just taken care of herself and did what she had to, she wouldn't have had to experience that. And so having those experiences, you know, so close together, I decided to go and get myself checked, you know, because I'm at that age. I turned 53 this year. And I was like, you know what? You just can't be too safe these days. You just never know. So I went and I got the test, you know, and look, guys, I know I get it because I'm in the same boat. You don't want to, it's really unnerving, right? To subject yourself to an examination of that sort that's so invasive, you know? But listen, I did it and I'm alive. So I'm telling all of you guys out there to not be afraid. You know, look, let's just put it this way. If you don't want to do it for yourself, think about the people in your life, right? Because we're all connected to somebody else. And I guess, you know, we just kind of take our lives for granted a lot. And we don't really realize the impact that our lives have on the people in our circles, you know? A lot of you out there, your fathers, your sons, your brothers, your, you know, your friends. Some of you, you are the most important support system emotionally that people in your circle have. And so you have to take in consideration what impact would it have on those people's lives if you're not here anymore. And that's what I had to do, you know, like I needed to stop the bullshit because we just lost our mother. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, my brother is here, my sisters are here. I have very close friends in my life who are like family to me. And I stopped and thought, you know, like what would the impact be on their lives if I wasn't here anymore? And so I decided to go and do it. And I was over by 3 years because you're supposed to do it when you turn 50, and I'm 53 now, right? So listen, the good news is that they knock your ass out cold, you know, so you're not awake while it's happening. They give you an injection, they tell you to count to 10, and before you know it, you're out. And by the time you wake up, it's already done and you're like in a waiting room, you know? And you don't feel anything. You have no idea that anything happened, right? But you get to have the relief of knowing either that you're okay or that they found something and it's been taken care of. Like I have another friend, she's a very good friend. She's like family to me. And her father passed away from colon cancer before he even reached 50. And so because he's such a close, you know, relative, she has to make sure that she's fine. So she goes to get checked up like every 2 years, every 3 years. And it's a good thing that she does that because she is prone to polyps. And if left untreated, those polyps can turn into cancer. So because she goes and she gets checked up on a regular basis, whenever they find something, they can just remove it. Now, I don't remember if they remove it in the actual examination itself or she schedules an appointment to come back. But the point of the matter is that it's removed before it has a chance to become cancerous and to become a problem, right? And I think, me personally, I think I would say a colonoscopy would be number one on my list of screening modalities, you know? They can do the digital examination, but like, you know, what if the polyp is further up in the canal? Then, you know, they can determine with, you know, a digital exam. Certain screening modalities like x-rays and things, maybe they might not, I don't know, maybe the position, they might or they might not see it. But definitely with a colonoscopy, you're actually seeing real time, not, you know, a black and white picture of what's going on. You actually see in real time, live, what is in the internal surface, you know, of your body. And thank God, you know, they did my test and I was perfectly fine. I got a clean bill of health. The most unpleasant thing about it is the preparation. They give you this stuff to drink like a laxative, and you have to like fast and drink this stuff. It was really disgusting, but what I did is I put it in orange juice, and that masked the taste. You do kind of get a little nauseous because it's kind of like drinking salt water. And so everything was cleaned out. I went the next day. I had my exam, had somebody come and pick me up, and everything was fine. So, you know, where Chadwick Bowesman is concerned, we don't know the exact circumstances of what happened with him, but we do know that when he was making all these movies that we enjoy, he was struggling with this situation. You know, they say that you should get checked at 50 years old. Now they have dropped that and they're saying you should get tested at 45. But Chadwick, he got it, you know, he died. He's 43 years old. And now this is the thing that you got to keep in mind is that he didn't just develop colon cancer just out of clear blue like that. So even, let's say, they said he was struggling with it for 4 years. That's only when it became, you know, when it really manifested itself, right? When it became detectable. So you have to think that this thing has been incubating for a much longer period of time than just, you know, those 4 years ago, you know, 2016. So personally, I would say start getting yourself checked out from the time you're in your 30s, either your early 30s or your mid 30s, because look, better to be safe than sorry. You know, we just don't know. Like I said, you know, the instance of cancer is increasing in our population, and I think it's due to a lot of things that are, you know, contaminating our environment now that we didn't have like 50, 40 years ago, you know, not to the same degree. So, you know, we gotta change. The rules have to change, you know. So, what I would like to do now is I would like to just discuss, you know, some basic symptoms of colon cancer to look out for, you know, or if you're experiencing any of these things, go to your doctor and get checked. And listen, a lot of times when you go to a doctor and you want to get something, well, do you have any symptoms? You know, and they want to argue you down. I just tell them, look, I don't want any surprises. And if I'm paying for it, then I want it done. You know, so I think you need to be insistent. And if that doctor won't cooperate with you, then go and find another doctor. You know, find somebody else who will cooperate with you. And I would say this goes for colon cancer. For us guys, I would say this goes for prostate cancer. I have a cousin who just found it out. He had found out that he had prostate cancer, and an extremely aggressive prostate cancer, he had no symptoms, no pain, nothing. He found it just coincidentally, you know, on a checkup for something else. And he went, he had the surgery, whatever, he's alive, and everything is functioning, you know, the way it should. But what would have happened if he didn't go and get himself checked out? You know, he wouldn't be here right now. So I think prevention is better than cure. There's a lot of things that we can do to keep ourselves healthy, taking into consideration our diet, you know, and a lot of our food habits. There's a lot of things that we can do to make sure that we don't get something. So getting checked up is one thing, but I think being proactive and doing things that will prevent us from even getting it or greatly decreasing the likelihood of contracting any kind of cancer or malady to begin with is where we need to be looking at, you know? And worst case scenario, let's say that you do have something, listen, don't give up hope. It's not a guarantee that you'll succumb to it. I'm gonna leave video links down below talking about things that we can do for prevention, signs and symptoms, treatments, and also, you know, some videos of people who had really severe colon cancer and they beat it. Now, one of the important things, you know, reason why you want to catch this thing early, right? Besides the obvious, is because colon cancer, well, first of all, if you catch it early, it's one of the easiest cancers to treat, you know? But it's also one of the things that's easily metastasized to the rest of your body. And the reason for that is, if you look at the structure of the bowels, the intestine, we know what is the function of the intestines. The intestines are there to absorb the nutrients from the food that we eat so it can get absorbed into the bloodstream and get carried throughout our system and feed, you know, the cells in our body. Now, one of the major organs in our body and the largest one in our body is our liver. And before that blood goes anywhere else to any other organ in our bodies, it has to go to the liver first. And the liver processes the blood, it detoxifies, it extracts things like the sugars in our blood, produces digestive enzymes, you know, to help digest the food in the first place. It detoxifies, you know, detoxifies our blood. It also has a great role to play in our, you know, functioning of our immune system. And one of the main vessels that connects to that, the main vessel that brings that blood to the liver to be processed is what we call the portal vein. Now, the portal vein is like, it's a channel, right? But it has other veins that feed into it, right? Or tributaries, you know, like think of it like a river, right? You got a main river and then you have tributaries that feed into it. One of the main tributaries is what we call the inferior mesenteric vein, right? That is the vein that is connected to the large intestine, to the colon, right? So whatever nutrients are still being extracted from the large intestine is being picked up by that inferior mesenteric vein. Also, we have higher up, we have the superior mesenteric vein. That's picking up all the nutrients that's being processed, mainly in most of your small intestines and part of the large intestine. And then you have the splenic vein that comes from your spleen. Those three, veins connect to the portal vein that goes to your liver. Now, if you have a cancer in your colon and it gets to the point where it's really proliferating, now those cancer cells start going into your bloodstream, and guess where they're going to go? It's going to go into those mesenteric veins and gets carried along to your liver. Your liver is the place where it's detoxifying the blood so that it can go out into the hepatic veins, into your inferior vena cava, which is the vessel that brings the blood to your heart, and the heart sends it out, into circulation in the rest of the body. So think about that, right? You got a system that's going throughout your whole body, and now it's being infiltrated with contamination of cancer cells. Once it leaves your liver, it can go anywhere in your body. It can be in your bones, it can be in your lungs, because remember, that blood that's coming from your liver, it goes into the IVC. The IVC goes into your heart. And once it's in the heart, now it goes to the lungs to get that gas exchange, the carbon dioxide and picking up oxygen. It can go to your lungs. You can get cancer in your lungs. It can spread anywhere in your body, right? So catching that early, before it has a chance to spread to the rest of your body, just will make life a lot easier, right? So we want to make sure that, number one, we do everything that we can to make sure that we minimize our risk for getting cancer. And number two, we want to get screened, because if there's any kind of polyps developing in there, any abnormal cells, we want to have those removed before it gets to the point where it can become a problem, right? So just some things to look out for, signs and symptoms. Number one, diarrhea with cramps and dizziness, or constipation with lack of control of your bowel functions. If you're having diarrhea, like that diarrhea, like 6 times a day or more for 2 days or more, definitely go to your doctor to get yourself checked out and see what is going on. Don't just try to treat it with like Pepto-Bismol. When you have things that are really out of the ordinary, that's a flag, that's a red flag. It might not be nothing. Knock on wood, it isn't anything. But wouldn't you much rather know for sure that it isn't anything, rather than you get some kind of crazy news later down the road, right? Rectal bleeding, okay, if you have hard stools, you're dehydrated, constipated a little, sometimes you may tear the lining of the rectum, and there's a little bit of blood when you clean yourself. But if this is happening on a regular basis, that's not normal. You shouldn't be bleeding every time you go to the toilet, Big sign, sudden weight loss. That's not normal. If you're having that, go get yourself checked out. It could be colorectal cancer. It could be, listen, when you got that sudden weight loss thing, it could be anything. Go get yourself checked out. Abdominal discomfort, like, pains in your abdominal region, but it's like, it's not really specific to any one location. It's just kind of vague, If that's going on for a while, get yourself checked out. Unexplained fatigue. All of a sudden, you just don't have any energy to do anything, You just can't stay awake. if that is abnormal for you, go get yourself checked up. Chronic pelvic pain, pain in your pelvis, in your pelvic area. Okay, a few days, it's still not going away. Once again, for me personally, from personal experience, I say if it ain't gone by 2 weeks tops, get yourself checked out. Something like that, though, I'd say, look, if you're having pain for a week, go get yourself checked out. Anemia. A lot of times, this kind of thing, when you have cancer and you have anemia, it's because you have some kind of internal bleeding, and so your blood count is going to be low. Your red blood count is going to be low. Dark stool. This is like a red flag for a lot of different things, because dark stool, not just colorectal cancer, it can be indicative of some other problems in the body, because dark stool, what that is, that's blood, that's old blood. So it could be blood coming from the rectal area, your colon. It could be bleeding somewhere further up in your GI tract. When blood lays around for a while, when it gets old, it gets dark. So if you're having dark stools, you definitely need to go and get checked out. Make sure it's not colorectal cancer. Make sure it's not something else either, Vomiting and nausea. Once again, if this is something that's becoming chronic, go get yourself checked out. Like food poisoning, okay, that lasts how long? Maybe a day or two. But if this is something that's going on a week, 2 weeks, definitely there's something going on there, and you want to make sure that you get on top of it before it has a chance to become more complicated. Narrow stools. So I think, when you go to the bathroom, you should always check your bowel movements to see what's there. Now, if you're having bowel movements that are really narrow and stringy, it's indicative that there's some kind of obstruction there in your lower GI tract, in your alimentary canal. It could be a tumor, could be polyps. There's something that's constricting everything, and that's why it's coming out, like a narrow, like narrow and stringy. Go and get yourself checked out. Go get a colonoscopy. Definitely go get a colonoscopy, because they can go in there and they can see exactly what's going on. Decrease in the frequency of bowel movements. So for example, if you have typically 3 bowel movements a day, and now you're only going once a day, or maybe every other day, all of a sudden, that could be a problem. It could be indicative that there's some kind of obstruction happening in your system there, and things aren't moving the way they should. Feeling full when you're not. So for example, it's like you go to the bathroom, you've had a bowel movement, but you still feel like you've got to go to the bathroom. That's not normal. That's something is going on there. You need to get it checked. Loss of appetite. That could be a lot of different things, but it definitely is a red flag that something is going on with your health. You need to go and get yourself checked out. Bone pain. Usually this happens when the cancer has spread to your body. If it's spread to your bones, you will have bone pain. Unexplained headaches, chronic headaches, unexplained. That's another thing to look out for. And sciatica, you have this radiating pain in your lower back that's spreading down into your legs. Look, it could be a slipped disc. It could be a pinched nerve. It could be a lot of things. But it could also be due to some kind of tumor pressing on your nerves. Go and get yourself checked. You could get CT scan, you could get abdominal x-ray, but like I said, for me, I think the ultimate is the colonoscopy. But any of those things will be fine. I think there are also some tests that they do, laboratory tests to check your, different elements in your blood. I don't know if PSA test is one of the things. I know PSA test is one of the things that they do to screen for, what's that thing? Prostate cancer. I don't know if they use that for colon cancer also. I know that they do have a test. There is a test that they do for colon cancer where you give them a stool sample and from that they can analyze it. But to me, why would you want to wait until like cancer cells are showing up in your stool? Wouldn't it be much better to get it when it's at the stage where it's just a benign polyp and then you just get rid of it? So those are some of the things that, to look out for. Once again, diet. Number one, prevention is better than cure always. So, listen, we don't know why these things happen all the time, but let's take a sad situation and use it as a way of empowering us. I think knowing the kind of person that Chadwick was, he would want people to use his experience as a way of empowering themselves. So people, let's all do what we can to make sure that we are as optimally healthy as we possibly can be. I mean, we really have to change our outlook on life and health and what we're going through now, this crazy time with this pandemic. It's just really stressing to us how important it is for us to take care of our health, So with that, I'm gonna end the video here. This is just really encouraging all of us to take better care of ourselves. And even though I spoke mainly to the men here, ladies, you are also susceptible to colon cancer. Even though it's less frequent, it does happen. Women do get colorectal cancer as well. And please don't neglect yourself. Unfortunately, my uncle isn't here anymore because he didn't do the right thing, because he's got this damn, mentality that we have, like by the time it was detected with him, he had a tumor inside of him that was like literally the size of a football. And he lived for another 2 years. And then, it came back. And when it came back so aggressively. By that point, they told him that they were going to have to remove a lot of his intestines. He'd have to be on a colostomy bag. They were going to have to remove half of his pelvis because it had spread to the bone in the pelvis. And he was just like, forget it. No, I don't want to do that, So, we lost him. But what I'm saying to everybody is that doesn't have to be the way it plays out for you. If, God forbid, you should develop some kind of colon cancer, it doesn't have to be that way. You can beat it. And I think if we pay attention to our health, we can prevent ourselves from even catching it in the first place. So everybody, I hope this message reaches you well, and I just said, everybody, you know, signing out, love and light, peace, prosperity, and perfect health to everybody, okay? Bye-bye.